analytics and intelligence. A quick context of Airtel. Airtel is this is because there are people here from outside, that's the context. Airtel is the world's fourth largest mobile operator. We have over 280 million subscribers. We're adding 30 million subscribers every month. We operate in 20 countries, offering 2G, 3G, 4G, broadband, long distance, direct-to-home TV, m-commerce, health, and entertainment. In 2011, the Wall Street Journal had categorized Airtel as India's most innovative company, and will still continue to be that. A few numbers of our infrastructure. We have over 40 petabytes of data, over 1,200 major enterprise applications, over 1,000 databases, 1,500 firewalls, and we conduct over 11 billion transactions per day. This obviously raises a lot of concerns in operators, telco operators like Airtel. What are our concerns? First thing, Airtel being a telco has always been a telco. What's changed now is the nature of these attacks. They have become advanced, sophisticated, targeted, and persistent. More importantly, they are not being launched by script killings, but by determined nation states and highly organized cyber criminals. Being a critical infrastructure, telcos are subjected to stringent information security mandates due to national security issues. Violation of these mandates in India involve stringent penalties that may be even up to $8 million per violation, and if repeated, we can lose our operating license. All telcos are based on leveraging outsourcing. Airtel has over 3,000 IBMers working full-time in Airtel managing our IT. We have outsourced our telecom networks to Ericsson, Nokia, Huawei. Our call center technologies have been outsourced to Avaya. And we have over 35,000 call center agents accessing our CRM and billing platforms, both of which are major applications containing extremely sensitive data. Telcos are shifting from voice to data and therefore migrating to IP networks, bringing internet-like vulnerabilities into what was traditionally a robust SS7 telecom network. Intense competitive pressures within the sector and dropping ARPU. For those who are aware, the average revenue per user is compelling our management to enhance their risk appetite and increase their risk tolerances. And adoption of disruptive technologies is bringing in complexity, not only from the technology perspective, but also in its deployment and operationalization. Leading surveys, including the Verizon breach report, have indicated that over 40% of the breaches that have taken place in this year, like last year, were attributed directly and significantly to complexity. While these are important concerns, what is of concern, even more bigger concern, is that they're getting intensified by the deteriorating external threat environment. Nation states are imposing their foreign policy through cyber war, and they are aiming to gain competitive and industrial advantages through cyber espionage. And in all this, telcos being critical infrastructure is right at the center of the game plan. Cyber criminals have become highly industrialized with sophisticated supply chains. The explosive amount of frauds and data thefts conducted by them have become the bane of telcos globally. Activists have become extremely aggressive, and they're synchronizing their attacks with protests that are happening on ground and making available platforms for people, whoever are interested, to partake We noticed this last year when anonymous attack operators for over a two-week period. They synchronized their attacks with protests going on in Delhi, and they made available the low orbit and high orbit iron cannons for anyone to get in and launch DDoS attacks on operators. In that attack, we experienced DDoS of 40 Gbps, which for us was mind-boggling and significant, but today it pales in comparison to the 300 Gbps attacks that were launched on spam house. And this is of concern to telcos because these high bandwidth DDoS attacks use replication and which makes telcos and operators secondary victims. Also of concern is the fact that DDoS is increasingly being used as diversionary tactic for penetrating organizations. On the other side, trust has taken a huge beating. The traditional trust chains that we have come to believe in have got breached. We know RSA got hit for their two-factor token. We are seeing SSL certificate suppliers being attacked so that encrypted traffic can be intercepted. Software code signing certificates by software vendors have been compromised, as we see in the case of the Opera browser in June. These and certain commoditized trust pains like search engine poisoning, DNS poisoning, spear phishing, all of them have left very little trust in the environment. But then that's not all. Even that little trust that is left is like depreciating quickly when new forms of attacks like watering holes and attacks on social media accounts. In India, we almost read in the last week, ICISO, a number of banks, their social media accounts have been hacked. Accounts of major people having a lot of followers are being hit so that URLs are being sent, and diverting them to malicious sites. But about coming in numbers, 2012 was a record year for the largest number of reported attacks. This year, that number has already been reached and is still growing. Most of the attacks here are tried and tested SQL injection, cross-site scripting, attacks on cross-browser, cross-OS platforms like Java and Flash. But what is of real importance and concern is the raising of the bar as never seen before due to the explosive spiraling of 0 days and highly malicious code that have their complex and custom delivery mechanisms that have rendered traditional signature-based controls completely obsolete. On the other hand, adoption of disruptive technologies like mobile, cloud, opening enterprise APIs have obliterated perimeters and have erased the difference between insiders and outsiders. Given the situation, the current security models have become archaic, depending on boundaries to protect us has become invalid. Building fortresses with high walls to prevent attackers from coming in by virtue of stupidity, because they are like getting over the walls, they're parachuting over the walls, and inside applications are flying over the walls into the cloud. The old notion of what is owned can be controlled and what is controlled can be trusted is fast fading with BYOD and cloud, etc. making organizations own lesser and lesser part of the devices and infrastructure. The traditional security decision-making process compared security events with policies to determine if it could be trusted and allowed or not trusted and blocked. These processes looked at trust in a binary format. 1 level, 100, yes. I don't think I'll be able to complete my thing in 2 minutes. You may call other. So we cannot have binary trust any longer. That's because disappearance of boundaries and loss of ownership has brought in ambiguity and uncertainty in the decision-making process that has resulted in a number of levels of trust, right, depending on the context of the security event. This therefore makes it necessary for security to be context-aware and adaptive, raising or lowering its thresholds depending on the trust level that is generated by a particular security event. Unfortunately, while this is needed, security today is static because it's based on content inspection and content awareness, not context awareness. This needs to change, and so should other things like aligning security with business needs to change. It needs to get aligned, because without boundaries, without ownerships, with applications across out of the organization and data strewn in various devices owned and not owned, internal networks and outside network, has made it almost impossible for security to lay a blanket of controls over this vast spectrum. They need to know precisely what are the crown jewels of the organization, what are the assets with the maximum financial reputation and regulatory impact, and that they can get to know only from business leaders, and security needs to talk very closely. And therefore, there needs to be a migration in the mindset of security from lockdown to risk management. Also, security needs to change its focus from predictive controls to predictive controls, because today, most organizations, I would say all organizations, have been breached and they do not know it. The Verizon breach report of this year says 85% of the organizations that have been breached did not know they were breached. And those that got to know about it got to know from YouTube, from customer complaints, or from law enforcement. Therefore, it's crucial that organizations put in place forward-leaning monitoring and detective approach in their security programs. There has to be a shift in focus from technology controls to behavioral controls, because people are becoming ever increasingly important in today's security with BYOD and people and cloud, personal cloud, etc. And very importantly, security needs to be context aware. Many of you all know the art of war by Sun Tzu. He said, if you know yourself, you will win the battle. If you know your enemy, you will win 10 battles. If you know both yourself and the enemy, you will win 100 battles. Therefore, it is crucial for context, both external threat context and internal business risk context, to be infused into the security decision-making process. Unfortunately, security decision-making today is a very simplistic comparison and compliance with static policies. And when context comes in, it begins to fail, because context requires interpretation, and interpretation requires analytics and intelligence. Given this change, right, in 2010, Airtel embarked on a security transformation program, and our program sought to first get ourselves aligned with business by improving our processes, governance, data classification, ownership, improving our own awareness, building culture, sprucing up our risk management processes, and very importantly, focusing on measurement and metrics so that business relevant information can be passed back to the leaders. Right. Secondly, since getting breached was almost a certainty, Airtel decided to put in a forward-leaning approach by monitoring, by focusing on detective controls and monitoring. We look at network security monitoring through first behavior to discovery, baselining, anomaly, and forensics. Put in advanced threat detection through virtualized sandboxing, focused on detecting where data is leaking, detecting where are there anomalous activities happening in databases, and performing DAST periodically. And thirdly, and very importantly, Airtel decided to infuse context and intelligence in all its processes, systems, and infrastructure so as to gain prioritization of remediation, automation, and very importantly, optimization of resources. And for this, we chose QRadar as our security intelligence platform, and we began our program by getting all the devices, security devices and network devices that existed in their own silos to talk to and interact with one another. Like for example, our dynamic application security tool, which was in its own silo, was completely oblivious to the findings of the static tool. We bridged them both together by implementing AppScan Enterprise, which got them together, linked them to QRadar, from QRadar to Site Protectant, from there to our firewall. Created ecosystems of this kind which gave us broader, deeper, and more accurate vulnerability insights, better protection from advanced attacks, and very importantly, quicker response. And parallelly, we started integrating event logs, right? Vulnerability information, configuration information, and flow data, along with external context of bad IPs, bad sites, CNC sites, all together into the SIF, which analyzed it, correlated, analyzed it, gave us contextual assessments, better risk management, very importantly, prioritization and actionable intelligence. In phase 2, we are planning to get all the remaining sources of information, like DNS. DNS is a great source of intelligence. Website, web page text, email, and social activity into a big data platform for which we have identified big insights, which will then get linked. It's a Hadoop-based thing, linked to QRadar, and therefore we get better insights. We're also looking at integrating GRC with QRadar so that our compliance and risk management is cruised up. Also, we're looking at capturing the context from the network. Like say, for example, Cisco's IAC gives the capability of picking up device status, device the user credentials and the user privileges. Capture that, push it to the security intelligence platform so that you get a much bigger and better contextual source of information to be analyzed. Now, what has all this done? While we are still in the process, already technology interaction, information integration supported by analytics and intelligence has given us immense capability already to meet our core business requirements of advanced threat protection, managing our risk, meeting compliance requirements, preventing fraud, and optimizing our resources. While there is no time for me to go through those cases, I'm so sorry, this thing has not moved. This was the concerns part of it, which I covered. These are the boundaries, ownership, binding, trust, and this is where we talked the 3 approaches. This is how we got the technology interaction. Technology and information integration. And finally, this is where we are right now in my talk, where we say that while we're still in the midst of a journey, right, and we have been able to mitigate through through our through this program, right, all the core business issues. What is very important before I conclude is that there was a time we were focusing on getting our fire engines more and more state of the art. We're not looking at like preventing the fire itself from happening. And that is what this analytics today, our security program, powered with analytics and intelligence, is giving us the power to focus our attention away from fire engines to the core reason why security is there in the business in the first place. That's to enable it. Thank you. Sometimes glitches do happen.